reality. Very exciting for us because I believe that virtual reality, the internet, TV, these things can all be used for good and not evil. However, there's a lot of evil going on out there, and you got to be careful because the greatest minds in the world are up in Silicon Valley and they're getting our attention. They're grabbing it. And we're in charge of our attention, not them. We're in charge. But are you? Well, to a degree, even I get sucked in. Oh, greatest intentions of going in there and learning something about movement or some modality I'm interested in or some level of philosophy. And the next thing you know, I'm looking at hoodies because they're advertising to me hoodies because they know I love hoodies. I'm weird that way. Yeah, I don't have a sophisticated taste, so it's good. Hoodies don't get over $100, although I've seen a couple that they pushed on me for $250. I don't get those anymore because now they know me better than I know myself, and they're trying to influence me. Don't you be influenced. Stay in gravity, and if you stay in gravity, you'll realize you're not influenced by these techniques. It's all of us that are space-oriented, and there's no gravity in cyberspace. So when you go in cyberspace, you're ready to click on anything they give you, and they make it so easy. You act like you're not even spending money. If some guy came to your house and asked you for the cash, you'd never give it to him. But it's, 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm bored. I just bought a whole shitload of IKEA furniture. It's going to be delivered on Thursday, and I don't even have any room in my house for it. And by the way, you walk like shit. That's right, you walk like shit. I can prove it to you. I've got room for improvement. I hate this new age concept of everyone's doing the best that they can. Bullshit. Nobody's doing the best they can. We can all step it up, myself included. So let's improve ourselves constantly. There's always room. And guess what? You walk like crap now. To make you walk good, it's a decade endeavor, maybe longer. But guess what? You're really going to need it when you're older. The older you get, the more efficient you need to be. The older you get, you want to work smarter, not harder. And guess what? We're all getting older. All the time. There's not anyone on the planet that's not getting older. Now, here's where we can combat age. I'm 58. I move better now at 58 than I moved at 48. Now, can I have the stamina? Can I go out drinking all night long and go to work the next day? No. So I've lost some testosterone, chi, chutzpah, whatever you want to call it. It's not there anymore, physiologically, even mentally. And so I've got to learn how to contain and conserve energy. And how am I going to do that? And you see good athletes, even if they're young, they do that. And then there's other people that just leak out energy like crazy. I'm one of those people. I'm ADD. So I've had to combat that and learn how I can just take in and let the world feed me. That's a lot different than me foaming at the mouth talking all the time like I do. So that's a big thing that I've had to overcome. There's still room for improvement. And when I talk about walking, the sophistication of walking is so dynamic. There's always room for improvement. I don't teach biomechanics. I teach impression and expression. Posture is an attitude. Why psychology of anatomy? Because posture is an attitude. It's okay still? Mm-hmm. What is mindfulness? Well, if we talk about who's co-opted the term, that would be Buddhist meditators. Oh, nothing's more mindful than closing your eyes and belly breathing. Not my version of mindfulness. Now, I'm not saying this from no experience. I've studied meditation for a long time. And I'm into an active meditation. So there's an ongoing, eyes open, back and forth, in reality, mindfulness that happens. And when you see people that are in sports like motocross, surfing, baseball, basket, you don't have time to think. You have to be mindful. And what we're doing is we're taking the neocortex with all these big ideas and getting that away and going to the movement brain, which is subcortical, subconscious, and reflexive, unconscious. So we got to dumb it down. You know, intellects, really smart, book smart people, 90+% of the time are horrible movers because their brains get in the way, and the thinking brain and mind moves too slowly. These subcortical systems happen quick. We have reflexes. I touch a hot stove, I didn't realize what happened until I see my hand. But my body protected me because that went from the spinal cord and back again. Happens like that. Thinking, I gotta go up here and process everything and then come back down. Too much thought ruins your movement. So you have to let go and let God, which actually takes a lot of courage. Often some people will oftentimes joust mentally with you. You know, if you're a trainer or a personal trainer, these type of people, you know, these people will try to talk their way out of a workout, you know, and you have to get past that mentality and get them into the physical body. Well, we should be able to do it all. I'm in my physical body and I'm thinking great, but I don't let go of the physical as I think and walk. And look at people walking around and thinking and walking. Nobody's feeling and walking and then thinking. It's a sequence. You know, and then there's a top-down and bottom-up processing. Top-down processing for movement purposes is very much goal-oriented, and I'm all about goal-oriented. This is what makes America a wonderful place. I have an idea, I have a goal, and I go after that. That is a top-down organization. Here's what I envision. I'm going to do that. I'm going to put blinders on, and I'm going to focus. 5% inspiration, 95% perspiration, and applying yourself. And that's a willing attitude. Now, bottom up is more of a sensing, a feeling, and then the action. Shaded with an intention. But the intention isn't the light at the end of the tunnel that I'm going for. So if I sense, I feel, and then I act, it looks like this, and if I have a plan and then I go, it looks like this. So in the movement, we want to be able to be a little bit more clear on embodying ourselves before we move. But we want to plan. You fail to plan, you plan to fail. Couldn't be a bigger fan of that one. However, did I forget myself? So my goal is all the way over there. My daily tasks are all the way over there, but Russ is right here. So while I do my tasks, I'm all the way over there, but my body's here. So you got to remember to bring Russ with you as you task. Not Russ, you're you. It's okay? Well, I'll just keep going. I feel good. It's all right? Mm-hmm. Life is about opposites. Everything's a polarity. Strength, flexibility. Control, allowing. Everything is different. Logic and the mystery. You know, the mystery is a very important one. We like to have answers for everything. Come to see me, I don't have any answers for you. We'll talk about a lot of things, and I'll come up with a lot of suggestions for you to explore with your curiosity to discover things in your life. But life is a mystery by design, and isn't that wonderful? that we can't figure it all out. Now, people like to cover it with things like religion to explain what happens after you die and all these wonderful things. The point is, it is mysterious. Revel in the mystery. That's the best part of life. But yet most of us are super afraid of it. So if you come here, I'm not going to be too pedantic about the way I tell you about things, but I'm going to give you information in areas that you haven't explored. And then you look and you explore in those areas. And then you come back and you tell me, oh my God, Russ, you are a genius. I never thought about that before. Or you may come back and say, Russ, you suck, because my back is killing me right now. Either way, it's good for me, as long as you've genuinely, authentically explored what we're going into on all levels, and then we'll figure out what's best for you and design a movement that's exactly for you and the person that you are. You know, we work so hard, we strive so hard, but John Keats is a guy, he was a romantic back in the, oh gosh, when were they, the 17th century, and he talked about a concept called negative capability. And I'm a big fan of negative capability because I tend to do too much. I tend to teach too much, I tend to effort too much, there's too much going on, and I'm more close to getting burned out because I just work too hard. Negative capability, one definition, is to accept the fact that all things will not be resolved in your lifetime. And I don't care who you are, you could be the most productive person on the planet. When you die, there's going to be a lot of things that you wish you could have affected, or wish you could have seen and done that you weren't able to do. That's for every human being, and that's okay. Can we accept that fact? And if we accept that fact, then there's an ease that happens. Now, some of you may be easing it up a little bit too much. You aren't the people that come see me typically. The people that come see me are a little bit more overly efforting, and they've got to calm down. And in this crazy world with all the images and everything that we're seeing these days, we need to calm down and de-stress more than anything. And how can I do that without being fat and happy? Because that's no good. That's not what I'm talking about. You know that when we communicate, you ready? Yeah. You know that when we communicate, words are only 5%. 95% is the movement. So what are we communicating through our movement? You know, if I look at you like this and I'm trying to communicate to you like this, it's saying something very different than if I'm looking like this and I'm communicating like this. And what does that say? As I'm communicating like that, as opposed to me communicating like this and being here like this. And there's everything in between those two ways. So we've got a lot of options out there. The problem is we're thinking the same thoughts all day, every day. We're moving the same way all day, every day. You want to get new ideas? You want to change up the way you think? Change up the way you move. That's your best hope. And you can wag the dog. Everybody's trying to change psychology and then think it can trickle down in the body. I say, change your movement. We'll worry about the psychology changing after that. As human beings, more than any other species on the planet, we have two great gifts, one of which most animals have, which is our autonomic nervous system, which gives us balance, helps us move all day long. Look at animals in Africa, not the ones in the zoos, the ones in Africa. that move freely, they're beautiful. Their music, their movement is exquisite. No one ever taught them how to move or how to walk. The other part that humans have is a somatic knowledge. I can understand, I think, therefore I am. I am what I am. And we can understand that as human beings. Other species can't do that. New Agers, please, keep your comments on the side, it's fine. But as human beings, we have this thinking mind. Now this is a wonderful thing, like most things, until it isn't. So our thinking mind gets in the way of our movement. We want to let go and let God in our movement and be free. However, if we're too free and all we do is move and don't think, forget about paying rent this month, because you got to think. And that's the beauty of the human dynamic. We've got to be these thinking beings that create our own reality and manipulate the environment while being sensitive to the somatic part of us. And we're losing the somatic part of us because we're thinking so much now. And so many images are coming at us in the internet and the information age and all of that. The body is actually self-organizing. There's the principle of least work that goes on in the universe. It's not necessarily the path of least resistance, but it's the most efficient way of getting from point A to point B. And the universe works it out. The body can work it out if we can just get our minds out of the way. So why do I bring psychology, philosophy, and culture into what I teach? Because it shapes everything. It's the hidden dimension that shapes everything. Anything I see is based on my psychology. What I do with it is based on my psychology. And how I'm doing that. And how do I size it up? It gives us meaning. And as human beings, this is the important thing. So I'm told to tell you a story, like a little, kindergarten teacher, to get you involved in my story. Oh, my story, isn't it gripping? Oh, my story. Oh, I could do a TED Talk about my story. And then you have